Hello everybody, Computerized MTG here, and here we are, finally, with a long-awaited Friday Night Magic Loot, FNM Loot, as I call it. And this is a series that, since I haven't done in a while, if you're new to the channel and haven't seen it before, this is where I theoretically am supposed to show what I get at the previous Friday Night Magic. So this and my FNM vlog obviously kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, finally, after a while of being off of going to FNM due to work and other real life reasons, I went to FNM, went 2 and 2, watched the previous FNM vlog if you cared to find out what I play against and how the matches turned out. And yeah, other than that, got me a pack. So let's crack this open. But first, actually, we have a box here. So if you've seen the vlog, I also mentioned that in this FNM Loot, I was going to talk about my deck that I played. So if you care to see what I play at FNM, go ahead and stick around after the pack. But otherwise, let's get to the loot. So let's get the focus here. Open this baby up and let's see what we get. Thought I got the focus. I was wrong. There it is. So let's get to the uncommons. Okay. We have a Vizier of Remedies, Zenith Seeker, Trial of Zeal, and our rare pretty good pack. So by now people know these cards, but as always I'll stop on the rare. So we got a mythic rare here, Kefnet the Mindful, Blue God. So it's 3 mana, 2 colorless, and a blue for a 5/5 flying indestructible. And he's got an ability and a condition you need to meet to be able to block or attack with it. The condition is that Kefnet the Mindful can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more cards in hand. And obviously, as every other god, to help meet the condition, have an ability. For Kefnet, it is 4 mana, 3 colorless, and a blue. You draw a card, and then you may return a land you control to its owner's hand. So, if you need, you can put 2 cards in your hand. And then we have Mountain and the tokens. So yeah, pretty good loot, I guess. I don't know how much this card in particular is worth, but oh god, the glare is terrible. Let me bring it back up. Let me bring it back up. There it is. So yeah, for just getting one pack, we got a mythic rare. That's pretty good. So anyways, that was FNM Loot. Do you guys have a deck that plays around the Blue God? If so, let me know. Let me know what kind of deck you're playing then. Is it a control deck? Is it a tempo deck? What are you running? Let me know. If you use Kefnet or if you use any other god. But yeah, that's the loot. And now let's switch to the deck. Boom. Here we are with the deck. A little bit too zoomed in, I think. Let me bring it up. Okay, here we are. So this is the deck. Immense amount of glare with these new sleeves, which, by the way, in case you cared to know, I'm using the Pink Pro, Ultra Pro Eclipse, and these are the first time I try them, and I really like them. They're pretty good sleeves. But anyways, so I am playing Jeskai Control, and I won't know yet, obviously, because I'm recording this from the camera. An absurd amount of glare. Last time I recorded something and there was glare. It looked like there was glare on camera, but after I put it on the editing software, the glare was no longer there. So if there is still glare, I apologize, and I will have the card pop up on screen instead. A little bit more work for me, but it's kind of shitty for me to leave it in this condition. If it is glare, if there's no glare, then ignore what I just said and let's move on to the deck. So first, let's talk about the land base. We have 4 copies of Aether Hub. I mean, it's a great card. It helps color fixing early game. There's plenty of times where I was able to keep somewhat sketchy hands because I had Aether Hub to help me out, Mana Fix early, and from there on out I was able to start casting Glimmers and other things. And obviously it synergizes with Harness Lightning. Obviously builds up energy, and extra energy could allow you to kill a creature that's maybe 4 toughness. So it helps, it's good. Then we have 1 copy of a mountain, just a normal mountain. We have 6, obviously I can't count. We have 6 islands. We have 2 port towns, that's just to help us hit white. We have 4 copies of irrigated, what is it, farmland? Yep, 4 copies of irrigated farmland. We don't need that much white because we also have 4 copies of inspiring, what is it, vantage? Yep. Sorry if I have to double check, I forget some of the name of the cards. So we don't need that much white, but the reason we have 4 copies of irrigated farmlands is because we can cycle them and obviously replace it and draw something. And yeah, pretty good. I like the cycle cards a lot. They offer versatility in a control deck or any deck for that matter. They're good. And yep, 4 copies of Inspiring Vantage, as I said. Then we have 3 copies of Wandering Fumarole. If you're a control deck, you love manlands. If you're a deck that can run manlands, you're gonna love them anyways because they offer a secondary win condition, and if your board is empty, you can still present a threat, blocker, or attack, or whatever you have. There's plenty of times where I was able to get in the last FNM in a couple of damage with Wandering Fumarole, and in one game in particular actually helped me out close the game. So yeah, manlands are pretty good. And then we have 4 copies of Inspiring, Spire Bluff Canal. Because overall, even though there is white in the deck, this is really at heart a blue-red control deck. So let's get on to the removal now. We have 4 copies of Cast Out. It's a catch-all answer, and if it doesn't do anything, again, we can just cycle it away, draw into another card. We have 1 copy of Sweltering Suns. Is it Suns? Yes, okay, it's multiple. Again, double checking. Again, Sweltering Suns offers versatility. I really want to put 2 in the deck. I need to find space, but I really want to run 2 in the main board. This was a card that I have 1 in the sideboard, and I'll show the sideboard in a second. A card that I had always brought in. Love this card, especially in this current meta as of right now. This is, while the Pro Tour is still going on, so at least when I'm recording this, the Pro Tour is still going on. It's the last day today, so we'll see how things turn out. But as of right now, Sweltering Suns is great, and again, it's got cycle. So if you have a main board game 1 against mid-range deck or against control deck, you can just cycle it away. It replaces itself, so it's not a dead card in hand. We have Harness Lightning, 4 copies of it. Great card. Great removal, hits almost every creature, short of indestructible ones. You get energy, obviously, from previous Harness Lightnings. In case you kill something that was lower than 3 toughness, you get some energy from Aether Hub and from Glimmer of Genius, obviously. So you can build up some energy and, yeah, blows big things or small things, whatever you need. 3 copies of Magma Spray. This is also a card I really want to have 4 of in the main. Kind of hard to fit in a second Sweltering Sun and a 4th Magma Spray with the 4 copies of Cast Out, but I feel like it works. So yeah, maybe I'll take out 1 Cast Out, put it in the side, and have 1 main Sweltering Suns. I don't know. Anyways, 3 Magma Sprays, cheap, 1 mana burn. It kills almost any early aggressive creature. It gets rid of Scrap Heap Scrounger for good. It gets rid of that new zombie card, what is it, a 2/1? So it exiles stuff. It's good, it's cheap, it works. Then I have 2 copies of each of the 2, I guess, selective counter magic, I guess you could call it. So 2 copies of Negate for non-creature, you know, Gideon, Heart of Kirin, whatever else. 2 Essence Scatter for anything that I either can't kill early on or just I don't want to resolve for ETB effects or other reasons. Then I have 3 copies of Disallow. Great counter spell. It's versatile. And then I have 4 copies of Sensors. Once again, a lot of people doubted this card early on. I don't know why. It's a great, great card. When people try to play on curve, you just wreck them. This is a card that after the first game, I had a lot of people hold out a turn or two before they played something just to play around Sensor. And when they do that, of course, you can just cycle it away. Once you understand that they're playing around it, you can just cycle it away and start drawing, but you're forcing them to play around it, even if you're not going to cast it, which is absolutely great. Buys you turn. It's a great, great card. Then I have 4 copies into my draw spells now. I have 4 copies of Glimmer of Genius. This card makes control, along with Gearhulk, obviously. But yeah, this is my late game right here. Glimmer, absurdly good. Builds energy for Harness Lightning, builds energy for Aether Hub. It filters card, it draws you stuff, flashback with Gearhulk. It can, if you're running blue, control or not, you're running Glimmer. Any number of copies, whether it's between 1 and 4. Amazing card. Then I am also running 2 copies of Pull From Tomorrow. I mean, obviously it's a Nombo with Gearhulk, but it's still great. I mean, a lot of the times I don't do any crazy draws with it. I've only gone like maybe 4 or 5, do it early on after exhausting my hand, and I feel like that's the best time to do it. You don't really want to save it later on and like just turn like 10 lands and do some crazy draws. That's overkill. By that point, you're probably winning or you're about to lose and you're just hoping you draw into something. So I feel like once you're able to do it for 4 or 5, you're in a pretty good spot. Refill your hand and you're good to go. And obviously my main win condition of the deck, Torrential Gearhulk. Absurd card, another card that makes control. All these cards right here, honestly, they make control right here. This is, without these cards, control would not be a thing in my opinion. At least not your typical draw go control, which is what this deck is. That's why you have pretty much everything in here is an instant, or it can be played at instant speed. The only thing that isn't an instant is Sweltering Suns. Otherwise, everything else plays on my opponent's turn, which is great. So yeah, that's the main deck, and now let's go to the sideboard. All right, here we are with the sideboard. Now the sideboard is a little bit of a mess, I guess. It's hit or miss. It's kind of here to deal with a little bit of everything, so let's get started. We have 2 negates. This is to bring them in against things like Marvel decks, tower decks, control decks, burn decks, any deck that heavily relies on non-creature spells, obviously, planeswalker heavy decks, etc., etc. Your opponent plays Gideons, you bring this in. Then we have 2 Aether Meltdown. This one hits creatures early on, shuts down anything with 4 toughness. I mean, they can still use it as blockers, but obviously they can't attack efficiently with them. So shuts those down, and obviously it hits vehicles, playable at flash, or instant speed rather. Yeah, flash, played at instant speed. Hits vehicles, so Heart of Karen, you can play this without needing to wait for them to crew it. It is what it is. It offers 2 energy, so again, it synergizes with Aether Hub, allows you to keep mana fixing, or it synergizes with Harness Lightning, gives you 2 more energy to deal 2 more damage to a creature. It's okay. I never personally brought it in any of the games this past FNM. Maybe it's an MVP somewhere. I'm not too fond of it. I'm looking to replace it with other things. Maybe just harder removal against artifacts. You know, you have Fragmentize, is it? Or Release the Goblins, or that new one which is just red and X. Anyways, plenty of tools in these 3 colors where I can bring in some cards, but I will just need to wait and see what's being played in my shop. So, moving on, we have 2 Invalid the Preserver, and this was a card that saved my ass a few times. This card is great against mid-range, against aggro, against anything that's aggressive, that's creature-based. You bring Linvala in, once you hit 6 lands, it helps you stabilize, you gain some life, you get an additional creature. Now you got a big flyer that can either block or swing in, and you have a decently sized token. It's a 3/3 flyer, so you can swing in with 8 power and kind of try to race them if you got them low enough, or just sit back and, you know, just changes the game. It's a really good card. Then I have my second copy of Sweltering Sun, and as I mentioned, I kind of want to bring this in the main board, but as of right now, it's in the sideboard. Great card, have always brought it in. Lots of very early game aggressive creature, and Sweltering Suns just kind of deals with them very efficiently. We have a fourth copy of Magma Spray here in the sideboard, and it's again just to deal with zombies or martyr vehicles, you know, scrap, or any deck that runs scrap heap or anything that recurs. You don't want it to come back. You Magma Spray it, it's gone. You don't deal with it. While it's not a very heavily played deck, one deck that I did play against was green-white Exert was the mechanic. I still can't remember the damn name of the mechanic from the new set. You attack and you can, yeah, I think it's Exert. Yeah, it's Exert. Okay, I do remember. So I played against a green-white Exert deck, and they have that one creature that I don't remember the name of, but when it attacks, you can exert it. If you do, you return a creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you want to get that helps in that matchup too. You exile one of their early game creatures. Now that creature suddenly loses value. So great card against that. Essence Scatter. This is more so against mid-rangey decks where your Harness Lightning starts to have trouble killing things, and where your Magma Spray, your 3 Magma Sprays in the main just are completely worthless. You bring this in, it helps you get rid of or helps you make sure that those threats don't land. Then we have one copy of Nahiri the Harbinger. Now, Nahiri the Harbinger is an odd card. You're probably wondering, why do you have one copy? Why is it not in the main? What, you know, it's good against control. It's a very situational card. So like I mentioned before, if there's glare flash cards up, I'll probably end up flashing cards anyway. Fuck it. I'm going to flash cards anyway, so you'll be able to see what she does in just a second if I haven't already put it up. Yeah, she does a few things. Against control, this kind of acts like our Obnixilis. It allows... Can't talk. Never can talk. Maybe I should see a specialist. Anyways, just joking. So... oh, man. I'm terrible. My jokes suck. Somebody get me help. Okay, anyways, back to Magic. Sideboard, Nahiri. Against control, she kind of acts like our Obnixilis. We can bring her in, get card advantage. It helps. It's great. And obviously, she blows up creatures. So against mid-range, not terrible. But against artifact decks, you know, like Tower or whatever, she can blow up tapped artifacts. She can blow up enchantments, so on and so forth. She's a versatile tool. So I brought her in a couple games. She was great. So she has her uses. Then, because I'm tired of staying on the left side, we have 2 copies of Dispel. This is against any instant speed deck. So primarily Dispel will be against the mirror match where you want to win counter wars, and you either want to resolve a counter, or just leave 1 mana open, be like, hey, you know what? I could have a Dispel. I'm going to play my Glimmer. You can try to counter it, but, you know, so you can represent Dispel, especially if you cast 1. After you cast 1, you leave 1 mana open. Whether or not you have the second one in hand, people will try to play around it. So, again, it helps you win counter wars. And then 2 copies of Sphinx of the Final Word. God, this card is incredibly good. I completely doubted it. I had 1 copy in the Esper deck that I ran before Amonkhet came out, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I don't know about this card, but it turns out it's actually pretty damn good. You bring it in against control, they can't deal with it, they can't counter, they can't kill it. The only thing they can really do to stop it is either just block it with another Sphinx, I guess, if you're dumb enough to swing into one, or with the Fumigate or other board wipes that kind of are big enough, which are not many. I think Fumigate is one of the few. I guess there is that 1 green card that can what is it, 1 green and an X, or a green XX, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, it deals X damage to all creatures with flying. So there's a couple of ways to get rid of it, not many. So this is great against mid-range decks that are heavy on removal and that can deal with your Gearhulk. You bring this in, suddenly they can't deal with it, you win. And obviously against control, completely shuts their stuff down. Now you can resolve all your counters, all your draws. Your opponent can deal with it. So Great card. And yeah, that's it for the sideboard. I've already mentioned a couple of the ideas for things that I want to swap in. Sweltering Suns, Magma Spray, I like to bring those in. If not, a fourth copy of Magma Spray, definitely want to make room for Sweltering Suns. Sideboard options, of course, I already mentioned a few things. Release the Gremlins, Fragmentize, etc., etc., etc. All those depend, obviously, on what is run in my shop. So, anyways, if you've liked the Loot Kefnet, and if you've liked this Jeskai deck, yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. What do you guys play? What are you playing? Did you get some packs? What did you pull out of your packs? Let me know, people. I like to talk about Magic. Leave some comments. Something dumb. What's your favorite land? What's your favorite artwork for a land? Anyways, leave a comment, leave a like, share, subscribe if you want to see more upcoming comment. And as always, Computerized Magic here. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.